Welcome to the Speak and Flow podcast, the Legacy Growth Series. I'm Melinda Lee. When you're leading a company and growth isn't moving as fast or as consistently as it should, then I'm so glad you're here because this series is just for you. Because most organizations don't have a strategy problem, they have a communication alignment problem. At Speak and Flow, we believe that communication isn't just a soft skill. It's also how your company grows. In this series, we're going to talk through what actually drives that growth, how your team aligns around direction, how execution actually happens, how leaders show up when it matters most, and how all of this scales across the organization. So your company just doesn't work harder or rely on you. It moves together. Let's get started. Welcome, dear listeners, to the Speak and Flow podcast, to our Legacy Growth series. In our last episode, we talked about accountability and the importance of accountability for results, especially within the leadership team. And even when that happens, most companies hit a ceiling. And when a ceiling gets hit, a lot of times things get routed back to the CEO. And when that happens, I see that that's the signal that the leadership team, the communication is starting to break down. And that's what we're going to discuss today is the hidden cost of what happens when you are the only one leading the company. Joining me today is my dear friend. He's an amazing entrepreneur, Oscar Zavaleta, founder and CEO of Montez Group. His company works on construction management, quality management all across the West Coast, and they're big, large infrastructure projects. I'm so glad he's here. I've seen him thrive, go from small to bigger size projects, and we're going to talk and dive in today. Joining me is Oscar. Welcome, Oscar.
Good morning. How are you?
It's so good to see you. Thank you so much. I am excited about our conversation, and I'm going to kick it off with this first one.
Okay.
There is a busy leader, CEO, listening right now who has stopped to listen to this episode. But the CEO finds himself in the business, in the weeds, and it's too much sometimes. So when the CEO takes into account everything you're about to share, what do you hope could change in this person's life?
Well, that's a great question. I know I've been there many times, and I think what happens as the person in charge, the CEO, you know so much about what you're doing. You're used to, and in my case, I started as a one-person show in 15 years ago, so I was doing everything. Whether it was the account, it was the proposals, whether it's attending pre-bids. So you want to well, you're so used to owning it. So that's the hardest part to say, you know what? I don't need to own it. I have really good people in my team that I need to empower to do. So I think hopefully what somebody will get out of this, a BCCO, is saying, you need to step back. Can't own everything, and you need to have trust on the process, the systems that you put in place, and the people that you have in your team. I think I know I've been incredibly surprised as I moved on from doing everyday hands-on thing to stepping back and now, doing projections, doing more strategy. What are the things that we're doing more on that process instead of the very day-to-day thing. So my hope is that when they're done, they'll listen and say, you know what, there's a few things here that I can take away that will help me.
Wonderful. I think that's so important. And you truly can paint that picture for the CEO because like you said, you started with the one person team and now you've grown. And so tell us more for the audience. What are the projects that you're into nowadays? What excites you most about the work that you're doing? How far have you grown?
Well, we're there's about 35 of us on the professional services side. So we're a construction management company, focused largely on the quality side of mega projects. Um, And with some of the projects that we're working on right now, we're on the VTA Silicon Valley Phase 2. So that's calculated right now to be about $12.5 billion mega project. And we've had the opportunity to work under Bechtel as part of the construction management team. So that's a terribly challenging, complicated, but world-class project, I like to think. So we've had the opportunity to work on this project, right? The last 15 years, we paved the way. We worked at SoFi Stadium. It was really neat. If you like sports, right? We worked on, like I said, this VTA project. We've done a lot of work with BART, and now one of the things, Melinda, we're doing is we have an office in Seattle, so we're really looking at a lot of work with Sound Transit and WashDOT. And we have an office in Long Beach, tackling a lot of work with LA Metro, with the County of LA, and some other agencies down there. So that's exciting on that end. But what really motivates me more on a daily basis now is really being a mentor,
Mhm,
being trying to lead the company in a different way,
mhm,
right? Not being, like I said earlier, not being the day-to-day guy, but being the person that's there to touch points. Yes,
mhm,
obviously I review things and do that, but I have a great team supporting me. And I
mhm,
think that's what excites me the most, that we got to this point and I can step away enough to do other more useful functions for our growth. And I
mhm.
think that's great. And mentoring this some of this amazing talent that we have, that's really what motivates me to get up in the morning and say, hey, let's go do this.
Yeah, no, they're so, so lucky to have you because you have both the technical capability, but then you also care so deeply about your people and empowering your people. And so I know that that probably was a transition for you to let go because
Yes.
doing every little thing, you have an eye on how you prefer to do it.
Mhm.
And as you got bigger, getting more projects, bigger infrastructure projects and you wanted to, you saw the growth, you saw it happening. Tell me, like, go back to the time when you realized that they still needed you a lot. Or what is the picture that, how did you transition to them? Like, how did you start to give them the task, but then they kept on wanting you back,
Yeah,
needing you
it,
back?
it's that's a kind of a give and take, right?
Yeah,
On that, it's not a clear demarcation point,
yeah.
but I think it just through the growth, right, of the company as far as size wise, and also I think getting a lot of advice from some of I have mentors myself that are in the industry that I have a lot of respect for. So I think I realized I needed to ask more questions myself, right?
Hmm.
Like you said a second ago, I think for me that the biggest challenge in my trajectory wasn't the technical side as much as it was more the business side. So
Hmm.
it just started realizing that there's things that I was very strong at and things I wasn't. So I started finding people and putting them in place. So and I started seeing that they were doing a great job.
Hmm.
So, and better in some cases because they're more experts on that particular field. So, I started gaining that confidence and realizing that I don't need to be that guy. I
Hmm.
tell my team, look, if you're doing something and you're waiting for me, okay, that's not gonna work. You gotta go at it. And somebody taught me a long time ago, said something to me when I working for another consulting company. It's like, look, go at it. If you break something, we'll fix it. Let me know. And at first I was like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be there for you 100%. So I think I use that and convey it to our team because I wanted to feel confident
Hmm.
that I'm empowering them to go and do it. Obviously, right? We provide a lot of training. We go through what we need. It's not just a blind here, go ahead and do the work.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have incredibly qualified people, but we go through training. And once we feel as a team that this person can go and run, we really empower them. And
Hmm.
it's working amazingly. I'm able to step away now working on projections, working on more strategic plans, strategic hires, things that I just wasn't doing enough of. So I feel
Hmm.
like now we're in a much better place than 5, 6 years ago when I was still like too deep on the day-to-day operations.
And so when 5 or 6 years ago, when you're really deep into the operations, was the
Mhm.
key turning point hiring the right people?
It was absolutely that, but it was also just a realization that there's no way I could keep up with the level of involvement I was doing if I wanted us to grow.
Hmm.
So, I ran into another CEO company that started, we do a tremendous amount of work for SFO as well. And this younger guy, he started his company there a few years back, and we ran into each other at an event, and he said, "You know what? Um, Probably the best thing you did is to pull away from that project because it really, right? It's so intensive that if I had just been on that project, it makes it really tough to do the rest of the work that you need to do."
Yeah. Do you
So,
have to outline things for people or no? You just really, so there
uh,
are some things you
yeah,
outline and documented. Uh-huh. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
of course. There's things that are very structured, right?
Right.
But at the same time, as people understand what the structure is, and I'll give them a structure and say, here, this is how I've looked at it. Look at it, and if you have a better way, please write it up. Let's look at it. And we try to really do things as a team. We
Yes.
review documents, things that I write. I give it my operations guy or somebody else, so because I think that keeps them informed
Yes.
and also makes them understand that, look, we're a team, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, if we do well here, it's the team. So I think having that team mentality, it's also important because that way we're going the same direction. But yes, sometimes things are, we're a very technical field. Some things are very structured, but
Right.
within the structure is like, how do we do it better?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always, I keep asking our young guys, and now, so much tech and different way mentality of this younger generation. It's important. We need to. I feel it's important. I need to listen to them.
Yes. Well, then they, like you said, they're a part of the team.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've worked with different companies where they are constantly told what to do, they're berated on, they're beaten up. And so I don't know if they really feel a part of the team. They're doing the work, but I don't know if their whole heart is in it because they're constantly scared of getting beaten or not beaten physically, but you know what I mean, of getting put down.
Yeah. No,
And so,
I unfortunately have we've hired some people like that's one of the reasons why they left. Yeah, whatever they were, or folks that I've talked to. And it's not a positive environment or productive, in my opinion. At the end of the day, obviously our revenue and all this is important to us, but I look at it now as positive growth, organic growth, coordinated. We're gonna do well, they're gonna do well. All
mhm.
right. So I think, and again, trying to encapsulate that into a team mentality, and that's really has helped us.
And what would you say to the CEO who is having a difficult time letting go, especially when the CEO cares so much about quality and there's true financial risk involved? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that it's a difficult question. It's going to depend on the nature of your company, the
Mm,
type of work that you do. But I would say is trust your instinct with getting good people,
mhm,
train them,
mhm,
right? Some things would require some light training. Some things require more exhaustive training. So put the time, prepare people, provide the tools necessary so that when they get to what they need to do, they have all the tools they need. And I
mm,
think if you do that, um, you're going to be more successful more often than not. Yes, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be times sometimes, there's issues. Don't take me wrong, right? I still get involved on some particular issues because things happen and,
mhm,
and you have to jump in. But it's not as often, and you have more time to do other things that are necessary, I think, to
mhm,
to continue to grow instead of stay stagnant
mhm.
at that point. Because we definitely went through that stagnation for a couple of years, and
Oh yeah?
it took a
What
minute. It took
uh,
a minute for us to move on from that. We basically restructure a lot of the back end stuff because we were just getting stuck there.
oh, tell me more about that. What do you mean?
So a great example, right? On our, let's say on our general, all our accounting on the background.
Mhm,
We had somebody that was doing it part-time and doing
mhm,
it here. We had a consulting company. Well,
mhm,
it took took a couple of iterations for at least for me to realize, no, I need to have somebody in-house that was really vested, that was really plugged in on a day-to-day, and as
Mm.
it's made night and day difference
Oh,
for our team. So that's one example, but there were other positions like that that
yeah.
it was cost, and and it's a difficult balance sometimes because you have to evaluate how much, do we have the revenue to support this or that. But sometimes you have to bite the bullet to see the results. I don't know if that makes sense, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You have to invest, right? You
Yes.
have to invest even though it costs you a little bit more. But at
Yes.
the end of the day, it'll double, triple what you're trying to do. And
Yes.
it's easy for somebody to tell you when you're in the middle of it, it's a little
It
harder.
is harder. It's definitely harder because
Yeah.
it's real risk.
It's
And can
risk.
you really, yeah, provide for all of the, is this for the bigger goal, the better for the rest of the people? And I mean, but going back to what you're saying, I love the investing in them and, investing in this accounting person, and that really paid off in the long run, but in also training your people, training both the technical skills and hopefully some real leadership skills when it comes to communication, when it comes to how are they communicating together as a team? Do they have the skills to hold each other accountable in a respectful way for the results? Like all those things. Does the leadership know how to translate what the company does, both internally and also to external clients?
Yeah, if I can add to
Yeah.
one thing to that, I think that, being prepared and the training, it sort of builds that leadership as well because
Yeah.
they feel confident on the tools they
Yes.
have. They know
Yeah.
they're going into whatever the task or the project with the necessary tools. But if you put
Yes.
somebody that is completely unprepared, I think that spirit kind of gets kind of what you said as a bit ago, a little beat down, and it's
Yeah.
hard to build up
Yeah. Yeah.
when we try to, do the best that we can and prepare people, you can see the difference. I feel they're more confident.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, one other thing that made a big difference for me, and I think I shared this with you some time ago, is I went through this program with LBAN, Latino Business Action Network,
Hmm.
that is associated with the School of Business at Stanford. And it changed my mindset in a lot of things that I needed to step back, and some of the things that I thought I was doing very positive,
Uh-huh.
it felt to me, my instinct, it wasn't necessarily so, right?
Oh,
So I think going through that program was very critical for us, and we, like I said, we made a lot of changes on the back end, and I know we're in a better place, and of course there's going to be more changes, and hopefully we keep improving.
but I think that's the key, though. You're the CEO and the leader, and you're still getting training. You're still
Mhm.
open to developing and evolving, and that I think speaks volumes to you as a leader, and that's going to help and support the company too.
Mhm.
So congratulations on that. And you implement it and you cascade it down because when you're growing and learning, then you're having a ripple effect across your employees and the
Mhm.
projects. So that is key. And there's some people that some leaders that don't think they need it, don't think they have time for it, right? And so could you also share with us, when did you start seeing your leadership team moving forward without you? What was that like? So I hear that you hired the right people, you trained them, and now like what was that like?
It was great, right? It was fantastic in so many different ways. One, because you're seeing that, the seeds that you planted and you're growing and supporting, now they're starting to do, take ownership and really caring about what they're doing, really vested in it. And like I said, it's got to be a measure, and it varies with people, but the responsibility they take. And I love it when I give an assignment to somebody and they not only do the assignment, but they're like, hey, have you thought about this as well? Or I
Yeah.
did this other thing, which is, I'm just like, it blows my mind sometimes on the talent, right? So more than anything, it's just really freed up a lot more time to sometimes we invest some time in some nonprofits that are associated with that industry. So that's
Mhm.
really important for us as well, whether it's workforce development, whether it's particular industry associations. So we're
Uh-huh.
really involved with CMAA, with
Yeah.
Conto, with Build It. So that also, for me, it's really important. And I try to make sure that our team understands why it's really important to us. So, I mean, such positive things. Like, I mean, I could be gone out from the office for a week or two, and things keep moving, and
Uh-huh.
that's really important. So that it's been incredible. I wish I would have figured out a little bit earlier in my my trajectory, but it's part of the process, right? It's a journey, and it's going to be for someone it will be a lot shorter. Some people figure out really early on. Some people it
Mhm.
takes longer, but
You're
hopefully,
really fast. You built your company pretty fast. It was really
uh, it
power.
feels like it feels fast sometimes. Sometimes it feels like slow, right? It depends
Uh-huh.
on the nature of that. But no,
Yeah.
I'm just incredibly proud of our team, of like some of the projects, like I said, that we're working, some of the incredible owners that we deal with, right? Very sophisticated. So we keep learning. I think that's the main thing. And
Yes.
I'm looking forward, I look to this quote from a presentation a friend of mine was doing. And when I walked in the room, he just had this thing that said, the older I get, the more I realize how much I have to learn. And I
Mhm.
think for me, it's just once I read that, it really stuck with me. It is so true. There's so much to learn,
Mhm.
right? But you have to trust that people bring some of that knowledge and they're doing what they need to do. We have terribly qualified people. So why, as the founder for Apple said, you hire good people, let them do their work, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And
So we
what
have
are
fun.
I mean, it sounds like they truly, like you said, they're invested. They're not just there just to do the work, but
Mhm.
they're there to, your team is there to really add value and think of solutions even when you're not there. And can you speak more about the why they're there, like the values, like what is their drive for being there?
Well, I think it starts from if I back up, right?
Hmm.
For me, it's really, one of the things I'm glad I have more time is to evaluate talent, right?
Yeah.
And now when we hire somebody, I have, I obviously will talk to them and everything, but I have some of my guys. I want their opinion. Do they fit our culture? Do they
Hmm.
fit our values? Do they fit, um, a lot of different things. I don't want somebody that just say, "Oh, this is all I want to do." I want somebody that's
Right.
open. So, hey, I'm open to, learning more. We try to do a great job of making sure that, let's say you're working for us, Melinda. If you want to go do a training on A, B, or C that's related to what we're doing, it's like I'd be the first one to encourage you to not only do it, but we'll pay for the training. So
Yeah.
that's important on that end. But just really finding it takes time. You have to find the right fit. Not everybody's going to be a good fit for a company.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just how it is. But when we're able to find those folks, it's just like the secret sauce that is helping us continue to move forward. And
Yeah.
and I
Right.
guess for me, that's what's really motivating, right? That's the
Uh-huh.
part that's really gets me like all excited. It's like, oh, we have somebody, starting this and doing this and doing that, and then in a year, I just see them. They're like just grown so much, right?
Oh,
So
love it.
that's really, I think, that's helped us.
No, and you created this environment. It is something that you've developed, something that you saw, and something that because people don't thrive unless there's an environment for them to thrive. I truly believe that. And so for you to, hey, look at every hire and bringing the team to say, does this person fit our culture, our values? That is so important because one bad apple can make all the others, right, really
Yeah,
uncomfortable. And so I just
yeah.
think that that's so important to first of all be clear with your culture, your values, and then hire to have that organically grow and develop even better and more. So that's so important. And like you said, that's really inspiring to see people thrive within this type of
Oh yeah,
environment.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so cool. And then now they're doing things on their own. You're able to work on other things. 2 weeks goes by, they may call you once or twice. And you're really doing it from their one-man team now to 35. That's awesome.
Yep, absolutely,
And working on
absolutely.
these really complicated projects.
Yes, and and that's also motivating as well, right? Because and that helps us recruit great talent because people
Yes.
see it's like, hey, you guys are working on this type of projects, and that's what I want to work on.
Yeah.
Or you're working with this type of clients, right? That they're,
Yeah.
for example, SFO is incredibly innovative on their sustainability, the type of delivery systems they use for their work. So there's a lot of very nuanced, very technical aspects to the way they handle
Mhm.
certain things that people want an opportunity to work and learn and grow right within that ecosystem. So that also helps us.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And so this is my one last question I like to ask my guests is
Hmm.
when a company treats communication as a system
Hmm.
with how clarity and how messages are shared, how messages are reinstated and acted on, not
Hmm.
just a soft skill. They're communicating with intention. What
Hmm.
is possible for companies?
Well, I want to answer that question backwards. I think what's possible is that you're able to really have a clear, right, direction on where your company is going. So whether it's your social media, what it's supposed to, whether it's your statement of qualifications, right? Whether it's your swag, whatever it is, you gotta be, it's a messaging that
Mhm.
you're doing. But when it comes to people in general, as far as communicating is, make sure that we're all understand what the team is doing,
Yeah.
right? And yes, being able to communicate is important, but it becomes you know like rocket fuel when that communication is as clear and concise as possible. And I know, sometimes a lot of things are moving fast and sometimes training gets left behind a little, but I think doing that and we're still continue to work on that to do better job of continue to train our team. So, somebody's working in Seattle, right? For example. Well, they should know what we're doing in LA, what we're doing in the Bay Area. So when they're talking about the company, they should have a very clear understanding to what we're doing so that we're conveying the same sort of information. So I think that becomes more critical. And as we grow, we figure a few things out. We're still working on that. But yes, you want to be pulling the same direction. As I said earlier, right, with Apple, they're just as an example, it's clarity on what they're trying to do. So
Yeah.
it's harder as a small company, right? It takes a lot of work to do that. Whether it's your, like I said, whether it's your logo, whether it's your SOQ, whether it's a banner that you put together, all those things have to be
Yeah.
coordinated so
Yeah.
that communication becomes a true tool to be
Yes.
able to convey. Because, we can do a lot of great things, but if we're not able to say and clearly state that, there's something that there's something of value there that we're not communicating.
Yes. And you're missing that opportunity because it gets diluted, even though
Hmm.
you've done, like you said, so many great things. And so, what would be possible is in terms of the legacy of the company for the
Hmm.
long haul, how it lasts, when you have clarity on your messaging to externally and
Hmm.
also internally, there's consistency and clarity and consistency. What is possible for the legacy of the Montez Group?
Well, I think, right, you'll see people will be able to see our logo and already automatically know what we do,
Yeah.
or the type of philosophy that's behind of how we approach things, right? When my background is on the quality side, so I want people when they talk about our firm to say, you know what, that's a truly quality work that they do and people. So we want to continue to build on that. So 30 years, 40 years, whatever, however long we survive, I want that to be conveyed. And if I'm able to accomplish that, I think I accomplish my job.
That is your job. And you got this. You got this. And so thank you so much. And remember that I know that you are quality. You're a quality leader. Your company is quality. And so thank you so much for your time, Oscar. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun today. I learned so
Well,
much.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I hope, like you said at the beginning, that somebody that's really busy, but they get the opportunity to listen to our conversation, they can take some nuggets and say, "Well, there's some things that I might be able to do on my own," and hopefully see you on the other side when you're able to kind of move forward on whatever it is that you may be stuck.
Yes, I agree. And if there's any company or agency out there that's looking for high quality management firm, reach out to Oscar. How could they find you?
We have a great website for the Montez Group. We're fairly present in LinkedIn as well, and our team attends a lot of as- events associated with our industry. So look forward to meeting you. When you see me, please come and say hi, and hopefully we can have a great conversation about some of these topics.
I love it. Yeah, you can't miss Oscar's smile. It shines across the room. So thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Oscar. And until next time, remember, anytime you communicate, communicate what matters so your team moves together. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Strong organizations just don't work harder. They move together with clarity and purpose. When your leaders align around vision and revenue, they communicate with credibility, they create an accountability system for execution, and build a culture where this communication is consistent, something powerful happens. Momentum builds. Not because your leaders are trying harder, but because everyone understands how to move in the same direction. It's a beautiful thing. And that is what the legacy growth system is designed to do. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's purposeful, it's intentional. And if you're curious how your organization currently operates, I've created a reflective diagnostic tool. It will help you see so much more clearly of what is happening inside. It's called the Communication Dynamic Profile, and it reveals how your organization moves from vision to execution and how the alignment flows and where it may be breaking down. You can access it in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening to the Speak and Flow podcast, the Legacy Growth Series. Until next time, keep speaking with clarity, confidence, and flow.